Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. So, today's topic is going to be, why is this one symptom so stubborn? All right. So, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to take a couple of nice breaths. Just let the body relax. A relaxed body is a message of safety. And so is slower natural breathing. All right. So why is this one symptom so stubborn? Right? Because I've worked with a lot of people over the years, a lot. And I'm constantly hearing people say, yeah, I'm doing good with this, and that symptom. But this one, that's not budging at all. It's not moving at all. And so as I start to question and say, well, what's going on? What do you think? And inevitably, it's one of two things. Usually it's doubt or fear that makes that one symptom much more stubborn. And what I mean by that is, this, that, and that is absolutely TMS. But this one, I don't know, maybe it's not. And so that doubt is going to keep your brain vigilant and hyper-aware and protective by keeping the symptoms on, because you're not sure consciously, so the subconscious brain's certainly not sure whether or not you've got a real problem or whether or not it's TMS. And don't get me wrong, TMS is kind of a real problem because we have symptoms, but it doesn't mean it's structural, is the point I was trying to make. So, fear is the other one. Even if you're certain that every symptom you've got is all TMS, perceived danger, pain, or symptoms, right? Everything is mind-body. Well, sometimes we have that one symptom that's either been around the longest, and therefore it seems more stubborn, or there's one symptom that has a lot more fear wrapped into it. And sometimes the fear might be because of the consequences of having that symptom and the consequences of maybe not getting rid of it. So it's really important to understand, if you've got that one stubborn symptom and the other stuff kind of comes and goes a little less troublesome, it's likely doubt or fear, possibly both. Because if you're doubtful, you're probably going to be more afraid. So let's say you got a foot that's been bothering you for a while, and you believe you might have hurt it somehow. You don't know how, but you think you hurt it. So doubt will actually crank up the fear, and doubt and fear can cause a certain symptom to be more stubborn than some of the other ones where you just go, oh yeah, that's absolutely TMS. That's absolutely perceived danger. I know it for certain. Yeah, because I had that back pain years ago, and it came, and then I got rid of it with the Sarno work. But now it's back, and then I got rid of it again. But I'll tell you what, my neck pain, that's bad. I don't know about that one. And so the symptoms that have a lot more consequence or weight or power to them, for example, tinnitus for a musician, right? I was dealing with, a violinist at one point, and they had concerns about their hearing, hypersensitivity with their hearing. And as a violinist, you're playing the violin and you're holding it under your chin, and it's like right here. And so a particularly fearful symptom because of the consequences of that symptom affecting their love of music, their love of the violin, for example, and their love or the profession that they're in. If they're a professional musician and you got hearing problems, it can be kind of overwhelming to think about, oh no, now what am I going to do with my life if this doesn't go away? So sometimes the consequences create so much fear that those symptoms are a little bit more challenging to overcome. But I do want to say, even if you've got some doubt, even if you've got some fear, you can still overcome these things. Clarity really helps get rid of the doubt. And so go to the, painfreeyou.com/start. There's a pain test. There's an FIT assessment. Run it through, and if it looks like it's being created by the brain, meaning a positive result from that test or the assessment, then you can get rid of these symptoms, because that means your brain is creating the symptoms and not the body. Right? So let's get rid of the doubt with the assessment and make a decision, folks. You got to make a decision. I'm tired of wavering back and forth. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's really easy to believe it's mind-body when you're feeling good, but then you got a bad day and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, maybe it's really not. All right. If that's the pattern, just notice that, well, if you felt good a day or two ago and you didn't have a traumatic impact to your body, then why the heck are you hurting so much more a day or two later? The only thing that makes sense is that the brain's creating it based on perceived danger. So let's get rid of the doubt with the assessments, shared where those are. And once you get rid of the doubt, guess what happens to the fear? Starts to settle down, right? Because if we're certain that it's a mind-body thing, we're going to be less likely to be afraid of it. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are terrified of their symptoms, even though they know it's TMS, because they just hate the feeling of symptoms or pains. But in that case, we can actually make some decisions to dial down the fear. There's a video I did a couple weeks ago called Recovery from Fear. And that one really specifies or spells out for you that the primary task in getting rid of any of these symptoms created by the brain is to dial down and neutralize that fear. So if you have that one stubborn symptom, it's likely because there's doubt or fear, or the consequence of that symptom on your present life or future life is huge. And so it holds a much bigger place of fear, aka perceived danger, and that's why it's more stubborn. It doesn't mean you can't get rid of it. It absolutely does not mean that at all. You still can. You just have to kind of maybe double down on the clarity, that make a decision that, yeah, this is definitely mind-body, created by the brain. And then make an intentional effort to dial down the fear. Freak out less. Calmly reassure yourself more. Get good at that. Practice it. Learn to be indifferent to it, because why should you care? Indifference is like, whatever, so what, don't care. And for people who say that's impossible, I say, well, why should you care if you know that your brain is creating it and you're actually okay? Why would you give that a lot of concern or significance? So throughout, we can absolutely take this stubborn symptom, dial down the fear, get rid of the doubt, right? Just know that the consequences on your future life don't have to be there, because we know it's a mind-body thing, right? And what I will also suggest is, let's say you do have a few symptoms that you've gotten better for the ones that you were absolutely certain it was TMS, but this other one, this is more stubborn. Do yourself a favor, take that stubborn symptom and put it in the same bucket or classification or category as the symptoms that you're much more certain and less fearful of. It's all the same. You don't have 4 symptoms, you don't have 15 symptoms. You have one thing going on, a brain that's perceiving danger and creating symptoms. So put all the symptoms, including the stubborn one, in the same bucket, because they are no more difficult than the others, aside from how we're thinking about them, how we're perceiving them, right? Because fear is generally created by our thinking about the thing. And so if we think about the thing differently, because we've got the clarity and we know it's mind-body, then we're probably not going to be as afraid as intensely. So, you've got this, folks. You can do this. And if you got that one stubborn symptom, stop calling it your stubborn symptom. Your brain's listening. Call it just like the other ones. And if it's the last one that's still hanging on, what I just shared today is why. And the good news is you can absolutely address the doubt. You can absolutely address the fear. And when you put this last stubborn symptom in the bucket with the rest of them, you might be surprised at how quickly that one goes too. So, going to wrap it up here. Love you guys and gals, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.